Hello, I'm Dr. Peter Lind. Your thyroid gland is one of your most important organs in your body. It runs metabolism and it does a number of very important functions throughout the body. It lies right in the lower part of your throat. It's a butterfly-shaped gland that receives information from different organs and other systems of the body. So let's see how this works. The hypothalamus is part of the brain that receives input from all parts of the body. Biochemistry, it receives glucose levels, it receives fatty acid levels, it receives metabolic temperature changes, receives all this information, and then it tells the pituitary, this gland, the anterior pituitary, what to do, what kind of hormones to make. So in the case of thyroid, what we know is that the hypothalamus produces a hormone, a thyroid releasing factor to tell the pituitary to release TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. That travels down and tells the thyroid to make thyroid hormones for the rest of the metabolism. What we know is 93% of thyroid output is T4, thyroid 4, thyroxin 4. The other hormone of less degree, about 7%, is T3. T3 is the active hormone. That travels through and causes cellular metabolism in the rest of the body. T4 is inactive. It has to convert to T3 for it to become active. And that happens in the gut and mostly in the liver. These two areas mostly is where the conversion of T4 is converted to T3. Very important to understand. Most medications are T4 of origin, and still that has to be converted into T3. So just remember that T3 is active, but is a minimal amount, which is a good regulation, and T4 is the inactive, and it's the majority of the hormone. So this happens over time, and it's the TSH levels are monitored by the body, the T4 levels feed back up into the brain again, so the body always has a constant, supposed to have a nice constant even flow of thyroid hormone. But the National Academy of Clinical Biochemistry has recommended the TSH levels to be between 0.5 and 2.0. So 0.5 to 2.0, that's to be optimal. Even optimal, more optimal than that, is the TSH level to be 1.4. So anytime you get a lab test, that range can scoot all the way up to be 5, 5.0, 5.1 or 2, and you know that that's on the very high end. When you get much more past that, you have a large amount of TSH from the pituitary telling the thyroid to produce more hormone. The higher the TSH, the less the thyroid is working. I've seen people with incredible 150, TSH of 150, but anything over 9 or 10 is you've got a low functioning thyroid, because it's the pituitary is telling the thyroid to produce more and more, and it just can't do that. So optimal ranges, again, around 2, 1.4 to 2. You don't want to get any higher than that, because we know that if it gets over 4.5, maybe 2.5 to 4.5, there's a high incidence of metabolic syndrome. Why would that be? Well, that's a blood sugar problem, and that's related to thyroid output from the hypothalamus, monitoring the blood sugar. What would happen if that TSH is up and you don't know about it? You're going to feel bad. You're going to have low energy, and I'm going to go through a few things that will really help you identify, without even having a blood test, But you need blood chemistries. You need a blood test to really figure out what's going on with your thyroid. You're going to have elevated cholesterol accompanied by normal or close to normal triglycerides. Those are the fatty acids. You're going to have fatigue or just feel tired all the time. You may have difficulty sleeping or insomnia. You're going to have hypertonic, tight muscles, muscle spasms, fluid retention, elevated percent body fat, fibromyalgia. This is pain in the muscles and the connective tissue in the body. It's related to thyroid. Apathy and even depression. Because remember, that thyroid hormone, it travels through the body, but it also goes up in the brain too. The brain needs thyroid hormones for functioning, to make metabolic processes. Parasympathetic nerve system related to the sympathetic nerve system. Down here, these are the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands produce a number of important hormones. One is cortisol and one is adrenaline. If the thyroid markers, if the thyroid levels are off, the adrenal glands are not going to be produced very well, but they're controlled by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve system. So you'll see a parasympathetic imbalance that resists correction with nutritional protocols, indicated a possible primary thyroid insufficiency. So the parasympathetic, which is the slow down part of your nerve system, if you get an overdeveloped slowdown of the parasympathetic nerve system, you're going to slow breathe, you're going to move slow, you're going to have difficulty getting through the day, and that's related to a low functioning thyroid. Oftentimes we get a pulse when you lay down, you get a pulse of less than 68, heart rate of less than 68. Now that's not indicative of a thyroid problem, but it's part of the process that we look at. Slow respiratory rate, slow pulse. These are just clinical signs. You can test them on yourself too, but this is one way we test. We test these physical changes. Low body temperature is also known for being related to low thyroid. The body can't produce energy, so everything slows down. Deep tendon reflexes. Sometimes in the muscles we get changes with it. With the deep tendon reflexes, the body's not producing muscle stretch reflexes very efficiently. Many, many organs and systems of the body are related and dependent on thyroid function. Again, if your thyroid is not working well and needs help, if your blood sugar is not working correctly, if it's not balanced, you're going to have thyroid problems. But notice all systems are networked and they work together. So if the thyroid isn't working well, blood sugar isn't working well, probably, fatty acids are not working well, you're going to be tired, fatigued, depressed, many things you're going to notice in your life that need to be fixed. So that's what we're going to do. We want to test metabolic systems, we want to test blood chemistry, do clinical testing to find out what's going on so we can get the person, if it's you, back on the track of health again. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Peter Lynn. I hope you learned something that will help you today.